Welcome into Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by RightWager.com.
Friday night, we're in the house. What is good, everybody? It's time to talk a little bit of NFL action. Week 11 on our weekly powwow here, right at 6 p.m. Some pretty good stuff going around here today in some NFL news. A lot of interesting injuries that we can certainly cover up as well. And, of course, we're going to go over some prop bets. Last week, man, prop bets did not work out too well for me on Sunday, so hopefully we'll get a little bit more fine-tuned this weekend, have some fun with some of these long shots, and also at the FanDuel Sportsbook, they did put up match specials for the Buffalo Bills Indianapolis Colts game, so that's something that we can have some fun with and certainly get after here. Let me bring the comment section up. What's good, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. Broadcasting here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and also Twitter. And I know most of you guys like the fact that it is on YouTube, so you can comment, check in, have fun. What's good, Adam? What's good, pocket quarterback Lamar Jackson? We can have some fun with this stuff and have some interesting doings here. Also, keep in mind, if you're just tuning in now, Sunday, there is no BMR show for NFL, but I'm going to come on here on Sunday morning on my own channel right here and let the good people know exactly what we're on right up to game time. Just like we typically did every single week with SBR, now obviously with BMR, and we'll have a good time doing that here and, certainly break it all down, and hopefully we can pick out some winners and have some fun. What's good, Emza? But tonight we'll go over some of my thoughts of what I'm looking at. Like last week, usually on Friday nights, I do have one wager that's locked in already, and you guys know if you follow me on Twitter, it's already up. Giants team total over 16.5. Juicy at 165 when I got it. I didn't want to lose that number. That is a great one. That's going to win Monday night. If you're looking to cash in, maybe you had a tough weekend, Giants are going to cover that. Or should I say the Giants are going to get to their team total of 17 on Monday. One of my favorite plays of the week, and I think that catches in easy. Belichick plus 600 for coach of the year. Any thoughts? Has a good chance, guys. It really does. Right now, I agree with the favorite. I think FanDuel had Vrabel early when I was doing the early line this morning with Kevin, plus 350 here. I believe it was. So I think that's going to be, certainly interesting to see how that plays out. But Bill Belichick's having a great year. There's no question about it. Vrabel's having a great year. Some other guys also in the mix. But if I would have had to end it right now, like we said, hey, the playoffs are going to start today. These two teams or these 6 or 7 teams are going to be in it. It's definitely by far going to be Mike Vrabel for me so far. But again, already fired on the New York Giants. That's one that we got in the door. And again, as I said, I'll repeat it. Sunday, we'll go at 12 o'clock again. I'll go at 12 o'clock. Same thing here. So if you haven't hit the follow button here or the subscribe button, do that. Turn the notification bell on so you don't miss any shows that we have coming up. But I do like this Friday thing. I do a lot of content during the week. You guys know that. Morning shows, night shows, afternoon shows. But I do like to get on my own channel sometimes just so it's, just me chilling, relaxing, sharing some information, some good vibes with the people out here, and we can certainly have some fun doing that. And as I said, the weekly specials, let's take a look at those here because there are some of those that are up, and there's some interesting ones. But once we get those real, they call them the red zone specials, they do have them up now. They just popped up. So I wish I would have saw that a little bit earlier because we could have go over those. But again, keep in mind, on Sunday, I'll be tweeting it out all weekend long with my tickets and what I'm playing here, but it looks like they are out, and we can certainly have some fun in getting after that. So before we start with the actual card itself, why don't we just take a look at some of these specials here, because one really piques my interest here, and it looks like the weekly 11 specials, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 of them, but the one I think makes the most sense here also. I do a show in the morning called The Early Line on Sports Grid, and we do a pick 6. So there's certain variants here just to have fun. Hey, just pick a game that gets a spread, 6 games. No, we like to put it in variations, alternate spreads, unders, teasers, stuff like that, just to keep it fun and interesting here. There's one that really sticks out in this one. Cam Newton had 50 yards rushing and scored a touchdown on Sunday. Now, as you guys know, Cam Newton's going to be the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers here, playing the Washington football team. Washington down Chase Young, which is going to hurt them. They don't have a great secondary, but we'll break this down in just a little bit. But I just want to give some quick thoughts here. I think that's a really nice look here. Cam Newton had 50 rushing yards and scoring a touchdown this weekend. If both of those things do happen, that is a plus 250 price. Also, when I talked about the pick 6 it's not a contest. The pick 6 that both myself and Kevin do, I think Cam Newton scores a touchdown in this game. That was plus 105. Yeah, it's roughly pocket quarterback Lamar Jackson. It's a great name, by the way. It's roughly 17.5 and 18.5. So I paid it down to get to 16.5. It's expensive, but I think it's certainly worth it here. What's good, Akbar? I think it's worth it, but I like that one. Cam Newton, 50 yards rushing, and the score 1 touchdown. Haven't fired on any of these yet. Usually Saturday's my day. I get to decompress, sit back, don't have to do any content here, and I can just let it settle in, and we'll be able to find some of those things that make a lot of sense. And also, again, we are going to hit all of these red zone specials. I'll pick a couple out tomorrow. We'll post them, and then we'll talk about it, have that powwow again here on Sunday, and we can certainly look forward to have some fun with it. All right, let's get into the mix here. Let's have some fun now. Taking a look tonight, or Sunday, 451, 452, Detroit and Cleveland, Boyle versus Mayfield. You heard that right. Boyle is going to be the quarterback here for Detroit. Jared Goff was terrible. I mean, can Boyle be any worse? He might be. Young quarterback, not much time here in the NFL. So, I mean, that really is an interesting one to bring up because you take a look at Cleveland also, very banged up on offense as well. Looks like Nick Chubb's going to hit the starting gate, which is going to be big. Now, this line opened up at FanDuel at -10, now sits at 12.5. 12.5 bet 365. DraftKings at 12 points bet here in New Jersey at 13. And the reason I'm taking a deep breath is because it's a game I will not be participating in. Rain in the forecast, about 50 degrees, 13-mile-an-hour winds. But we're trying to take a look at what you like from Detroit. And there's really nothing. Like, what do you like with Detroit in this game? There's nothing to like from them. I mean, DeAndre Swift's a good tailback. They have nothing at wide receiver, a good tight end, average offensive line, and a horrific defense. And what are you going to do? Pencil Nick Chubb in here for about 175 yards? I mean, he should really dominate on the ground. But from a betting perspective here, and also, like, I like to take some long shots also. I do have a small ticket here on two things with the Detroit Lions, which started last week. I had them to go 0-17. They tied. So obviously I had to re-up that bet. Now it's 0-16-1. So basically, they're not going to win a game or another tie for the rest of the way. I don't think they will. But here's the thing that makes it a lot of fun. There's tickets out here in the FanDuel Sportsbook between 30 and 40-1 for the Detroit Lions to get their first win of the season in Week 17 against Green Bay. And you might say, Donnie, that's ridiculous. That's stupid. Why would you do that? Hear me out on this. If the Green Bay Packers have everything clinched in the last game of the season and the Detroit Lions do not have a win, they will play it as if it's their Super Bowl. You won't get Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, Valdez Scantling. Nobody's going to be out there. Half the defenders are going to be sitting down, your pass rushers, your cornerbacks. I think that's the time that Detroit has a chance to pick up their first victory. So if they make it to the final game, 15-1, I guess at that point, no matter what happens, you cash your ticket. But the big ticket would be is if they do beat the Green Bay Packers here. Lions have won 79% of their games against the Browns, 4-0 since 0-1. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything, though. That doesn't mean anything because the Browns were maybe the worst franchise in the history of the NFL for about 20 years. So I don't put much stock in that overall. But that's a game I'm not going to be interested in, so let's not spend too much time on. All right, Jacksonville and San Francisco, 453, 454. Jimmy Garoppolo, who looked good on Monday Night Football, just had to make a couple throws over the middle. But outside of that, didn't really have to do much. Jacksonville, who covered the spread against the Indianapolis Colts. But what has their offense done over the past month? Absolutely nothing. So how are you going to go into factor this game and say you like the Jacksonville Jaguars getting 6.5? Because it looks like across the board, FanDuel opened up at 6, sits at 6.5 now at FanDuel. Bet 365, 6.5, DraftKings 7, points bet 6.5. So roughly a touchdown in that game and an over-under of 45. I don't like Jacksonville at all. I really don't like them at all here, man. Thanks, Billy. But getting back to the game itself, San Francisco's defense is going to be able to shut down Jacksonville. What's the limit on Jacksonville in this game? Honestly, what's the limit on their point scoring here? Is it 2 touchdowns, maybe max, and a field goal? So let's just say 17 points. San Francisco should be good enough to get 24 points and cover that 6.5 spread. So a 24-17 final, something like that, right? Putting you right around that number of 45. I like the under in this game. I think it stays under. San Francisco banged up again at running back with George Kittle's back. Deebo Samuel still looks good. I know he left with a shin bruise in the last game Monday night, but doesn't seem to be affecting him this week all that much in practice. The defense getting healthier here. I think they'll be able to get after the Jacksonville Jaguars. Do I want to take this game with 6.5 on the road? Not necessarily, but I don't think this, guys, is a letdown situation. I really don't. When I look at this game and try to break it down, San Francisco is one of those teams now that says, hey, we can make the playoffs. Let's not lose any momentum here and lose to Jacksonville, which we're going to talk about a couple teams that might be, having letdown situations. I don't think that's the case with San Francisco. I think they'll get stronger here. I think they like the fact that Jimmy G stepped up last week, made the throws when necessary. They were really physical against the Los Angeles Rams. So even though they're not the home team in this, and it's a West Coast team coming East Coast playing at 1 o'clock, I get all that stuff. I do. But when it comes down to who do I trust more in this game, I don't trust Urban Meyer nearly as much as I trust Kyle Shanahan. I know that game plan is going to be sharp for them, and I think they'll be able to pick up the victory. And I guess if they win the game, you're hoping they win it by 7 points here. Won't have probably a play in this game, but I don't see a ton of points. Why? Because I don't think the Jacksonville Jaguars, per se, guys, are very good here. I just don't. Maybe one of the games of the day, this game at 4 o'clock we're going to talk about with some big injury news as well. But let's talk about Indianapolis and Buffalo here, 455, 456. Wentz and Allen, 7s across the board right now. On BMR, we did the for the win show on Thursday. Now, gave out a couple plays on there. I do have Dallas, so I can't take that back. I think Dallas is going to win the game, but boy, Amari Cooper down. Because what are you factoring in with the Dallas Cowboys? A little bit later, we'll talk about those 3 wide receivers, which were going to have some devastating effects on the on the Kansas City Chiefs secondary. We'll get into that second, but let's get through Wentz and Allen. 7 points here. And I talked about, it gave out, the 2.5, or I believe it was a 2.5 with the Dallas Cowboys. But this game gave out 7.5 minus 125 on the Indianapolis Colts. I think they keep it close. If you look at all the games that the Colts played this year, most of them have been close, really close. So that's the way I'm going to lean in that game, where they can hang around the chicken coop here. Do I think they win the game? There's a possibility they can do that. They're healthy now. Healthy on the front line, healthy on the defensive line. The one thing that makes you a little bit leery here is Darius Leonard, the all-world linebacker they have, banged up a little bit with an ankle injury. They're going to need him, and they're going to need him to play well in this game. But looking from a running game perspective, to me, it's clearly the Indianapolis Colts. Jonathan Taylor's been sensational here. Much better running back than Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, or whatever combination they're going to use for the Buffalo Bills. I think the offensive line is better on the Indianapolis Colts. And it's sort of a even weight here, too. Brian Dable is one of my favorite offensive coordinators in the NFL, who is the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. But then you take a look at the other side, Frank Reich, man. He knows what he's doing. He does. I also have a small ticket in my pocket from earlier in the season before it started for a team total over 8.5 for the Indianapolis Colts. And if they lose this game, that's not over in that fashion. But if they win this game, you could probably circle that and say that's probably going to be a W at this point. So something to keep an eye on in that one. But I do think they keep it close. Let's check some updated weather conditions here now that we're looking at about 6 o'clock here on Friday. Overcast. So it looks like the possible drizzle has been pushed back to around 3 o'clock here in Buffalo, which is good. Windy conditions, not really that bad for Buffalo. I mean, you're taking a look at midway to late November, and you're going to get winds around 12 miles an hour. That's not bad here. So if the rain stays away, you might be able to get some points in this game, which sit at 50 at the FanDuel Sportsbook, 49.5 at some other outlets here legally. So when you're trying to factor in what you like about this, Buffalo's got a great quarterback in Josh Allen. Dynamic weapons at wide receiver. Stephon Diggs, sensational. They play well, and they play well typically at home. They can put up points against the Indianapolis Colts, but also as a counterpunch here. Sometimes you have to take some of the games out of the equation early on where A, the Colts were banged up, and B, Carson Wentz had 2 sprained ankles. But even in all those games where they fought through, they've hung around, and I think they're going to be able to hang around here. If you can get a touchdown, which it sits at today, or maybe if it goes a little bit higher to 7.5, I think that's certainly a shot here. Fade Wentz before his kid is born, bet on Wentz after. Hey, there you go. I get it, man. I get it. Yeah, Rhodes will be back. Okay. No, we'll get to some of those stuff too, which is going to be key because you need to slow down Stephon Diggs and all the help you can get in the secondary for the Indianapolis Colts. That's going to make the most sense. But I do think that's a decent game to look at from a side perspective with the Indianapolis Colts. And maybe now that the weather doesn't look like it's going to be all that bad here, I think we might be able to get some points this one. The Colts do have to win. You are correct. So let's take a look at some, interesting numbers from this game. The touchdown market, people to score in this game. Score 1 touchdown. You don't get a lot of value when you take some of the big guys like Jonathan Taylor, Stephon Diggs. But how about this market, guys? If we're not going to get that bad of weather in Buffalo this weekend, and we know the Indianapolis Colts have been susceptible on defense, that's for sure. And also when you're taking a look at running the rock, Jonathan Taylor, basically as good as it gets here. What's up, DNL 0987? Checking in there on Twitch. See, we got some people watching on Twitch out here. It's good stuff. All right. Jonathan Taylor, not to score 1 touchdown, to score 2 touchdowns this weekend. And again, keep in mind, I haven't betted any of these yet. These are just some of the ones I brought up that I want to talk about before we make some final decisions here. Jonathan Taylor, 2 touchdowns here on Sunday, plus 490. Plus 490. Runs one in the first day. You got a legitimate chance, man. You got a legitimate chance. We're looking at a 50 total here in the game between these two teams. Jonathan Taylor should be able to do some damage. You see how explosive he is, right? He can attack anywhere on the field. 50-yard run, 40-yard run, 30-yard run, 1-yard run on the goal line. To score 2 touchdowns at plus 490, that's an interesting price. Here's a little bit bigger one. Check this one out here. Stephon Diggs to score 2 or more touchdowns on Sunday. So same game. You saw Jonathan Taylor there sitting at that 490 price. This one, plus 650. 650 for Stephon Diggs to get 2 touchdowns. So if the weather conditions aren't that bad, he went off against the Jets. He could do the same thing here. Actually caught 2 touchdown passes last week, but one, which was the right call, to get overturned. But the very next play, they came back to him, caught another sensational touchdown. That's an interesting one at plus 650. Also, some of the ones that are fun to cheer on in this one, if we're expecting points here and good weather conditions, 1 touchdown to be scored in each quarter, that's a plus 140. A little bit harder sometimes to get those, but we've hit those before. Each team to score 1 rushing and 1. I really like this one, though. I lost on this one on Monday night because sometimes I take these just because it's a primetime game. We got to get some content out there and have some fun doing that here. Take a look at this one, though. For the Buffalo Bills game, each team to score 1 rushing touchdown and 1 passing touchdown. So, again, do the math. 1 touchdown pass out of Josh Allen, 1 out of Carson Wentz. Legitimate, right? 1 rushing touchdown. Josh Allen can score. Zach Moss can score. Devin Singletary can score in the game for the Buffalo Bills. Jonathan Taylor for the Colts. That is a really good one. That's probably one I'm going to really be focused on and taking advantage of. But again, haven't locked anything in yet, but that one makes a lot of sense for me. Now, if we're picking on Stephon Diggs here, saying he's going to have a good game, well, last week, what about $150 and a touchdown? Take a look if he does that again this weekend. Stephon Diggs to have 100 or more receiving yards and score a touchdown, plus 350. That's not a bad price here. That's a fun one to root on as well. Also, my favorite, I'm a sucker for this one. It's not really a handicap. It's just saying, like, hey, you have a legitimate chance to get this one. Josh Allen and Carson Wentz each have 1 touchdown pass in each half. So Wentz in the first half, Allen in the first half. Wentz in the second half, Allen in the second half. That's a nice price, plus 390 on that one here. Now, let's get to a little bit more longer shots here. There's 2 more left here that I think are interesting. If I do think Stephon Diggs is going to have a big game, I want to pair him up with another good wide receiver. So this game special in this one would be Stephon Diggs and Michael Pittman to combined, right? Don't need each 100 yards, just to combine for 200 yards. So Stephon Diggs can get 140 and Michael Pittman can get 60, right? You just need 200 yards or more out of both of those wide receivers. And also, the difference is 2 combined touchdowns. So if you think Stephon Diggs can get 2 or get 1, you're going to need Michael Pittman to combine and also chime in. But if he doesn't, like theoretically this, right? Stephon Diggs can have 205 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. You cash that ticket. But they're giving you Michael Pittman along with it. 1 big play can change it. And we're banking on Stephon Diggs to basically carry that, though, right? That's just the way it's going to be. All right, let's keep moving down the list. One more here. And I'm all Stephon Diggs up. Look, you see in the background right there. See that? That's the MVP right there. He's going to be throwing the football Sunday. Stephon Diggs to score a touchdown in each half. Each half. That is plus 1,100. It's an 11-1 ticket. Put $100 down, you get 1,100 back on that. Diggs scores in the second quarter, first quarter. Like, oh, we got a shot here, people. We got a shot here. So it's just some fun things to talk about on that game. But I do think overall, from a handicapping purposes side, I like the Colts in this one. 49.5 is a total. Legitimate chance it goes over. We'll know a little bit more as the weather gets closer, and we can certainly fine-tune that forecast. We don't want to see that rain creep into the entire game. And if it's just a light drizzle, that really doesn't help all that much. Hurt all that much. So we'll see what happens in this one. All right, let's keep going down the list as we go. Miami and the New York Jets, Tua Tagovailoa, Joe Flacco in this game. We don't have to spend much time on this, boys. We don't. Opened up at 2.5 years of favorite to Miami. Flacco's inserted a quarterback, goes to 3.5. Miami should win this game. Do you want to bet this game? I don't want to have anything on it. It's a 1 o'clock game. I won't be paying any attention whatsoever to that one. So let's not waste any time and keep it moving here at this point. All right. Washington and Carolina. Taylor Heineke, and yes, Cam Newton's going to be the starter at home down at Bank of America Stadium. Opened up at 2, now sits at 3 across the board. Some 3.5 showing up also at Bet Rivers and also Parks here in Pennsylvania. Over under in this game, 43.5. 43s across the board now, so it opened, at 43.5, but now we're seeing 43s. Washington last week with a big win over the defending world champions, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Good performance they had, kept the football, ran it well. Taylor Heineke played well. And you got to say, Taylor Heineke might have the number there of how you're supposed to beat and attack the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Played well against them in the playoffs, which the Buccaneers did win. And then, of course, played well enough to beat the Buccaneers at home last game out. I don't trust Carolina. I saw what they did last week. I understand. They look good. They wiped the floor with the Arizona Cardinals, but that was without DeAndre Hopkins and also with Colt McCoy started as the starting quarterback. So you got to give credit where credit's due. Are they going to be excited down there at Bank of America Stadium in Carolina for the return of Cam Newton? Yeah, they will. which is why I take a look at this. I think Cam Newton can rush for 50 yards in this game, and I think he can score a touchdown. Anytime touchdown for Cam Newton in this game for the Carolina Panthers, plus 105. You're telling me right now, guys, you're telling me right now, you're going to watch that game, and you think if that ball gets first and goal at the 1 yard line, that Cam Newton's handing off to Christian McCaffrey in this one, you know as well as I do it's not happening. He's going to score a touchdown this week, and I think he does. But at the same time, I don't trust them even with the 3 points. There's 3.5 now, as we said, at Bet Rivers and Parks. So if that number goes to 3.5, I like the Washington football team in this game. I do. I really do. Not a great play. Will I be betting the side personally with money? Probably not. But in my opinion in here, I think Washington has a legitimate chance to win this game. I'm not sold on Cam Newton. I'm not sold on the offense for the Carolina Panthers. Will they get a boost from Cam Newton being at home and being exciting? Yeah, they will. They will. When the game settles in here, we'll see if Washington can handle their business at this point here. All right, next up, Baltimore and Chicago. I was a lot higher on this game even a few hours ago than I am now. If we look at this game on its whole, Baltimore coming to town, Lamar Jackson, elite quarterback, elite franchise with the Baltimore Ravens. Weather conditions, not bad, 46 degrees with about 10-mile-an-hour winds. You'll take that in November for Soldier Field in Chicago, absolutely. But I was looking to maybe see, like, hey, did you see Justin Fields 2 weeks ago play well on the road against the Pittsburgh Steelers? Probably should have won that game, too. Looking for maybe him to elevate his game. And then it comes back out like Eddie Jackson, good safety there for the Bears. Not sure if he's going to play in this one. Akeem Hicks is going to miss this game. Khalil Mack has been placed on IR, so he's done for the season. So I don't know how their defense is going to stop Lamar Jackson. If Lamar plays well in this game, they'll move the football fairly easily up and down the field. But also taking a look from a Bears perspective on offense, Allen Robinson banged up. If Allen Robinson doesn't go, how are they moving the football? I mean, give the kid a chance here, right? Give him a chance. I actually really wanted to take the Chicago Bears, and it made a lot of sense. That line was down to 4 at some outlets. Now it's back up to 6s across the board. I can't take it. I can't take the Bears now. It's going to be the Baltimore Ravens or bust on this one. Yeah, Lamar is dealing with an illness. Was back at practice full go today, so he should be okay for the game. It was a non-COVID illness is what they were saying. But, sharp side here, you wanted to take the Bears. I can't take them anymore. There's just not enough weapons. Justin Fields wins this football game. Credit to him. I just don't think it's going to be possible. But if we're looking at passing props, wonder what his – actually, you know what? Let's see if we can check now, because sometimes they have these placed up by now. They didn't have them up this morning, but I'm going to check on a passing prop here at FanDuel to see what we have on the Chicago Bears. Let's check. All right, let's see. Lamar Jackson, he passing. Passing. There we go. Player passing yards. Wow, see, they can't do this. They can't do this, man. Lamar Jackson now, Justin Fields, since he threw for, a decent amount against the Pittsburgh Steelers, he was struggling to hit that 175 mark. But when he played the Pittsburgh Steelers, I believe his total was 182. This is now a 206 in this game. Can he get there? He can. But if Allen Robinson doesn't play, do you want to bet on that? I don't think so. Not really. I don't really want to make a bet on this game either, because I was leaning towards Chicago. I can't really flip over to Baltimore now just because that we have some injuries to worry about. So I'm going to lay off this one. Not really a great one. All right, next game we're going to talk about here. 463, 464, New Orleans and Philadelphia. Trevor Siemian's going to come to town as a starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. Now, why is this interesting? If we saw all the information coming out today on the Saints, it's not good. Starting right tackle down. Starting left tackle down. Taysom Hill questionable for this game. But the all-important Alvin Kamara not making the trip to Philadelphia. He's already been ruled out with that MCL strain in his knee. Everything here now pointing towards the Philadelphia Eagles. And I agree. If you follow me on Twitter at RightSideVP, you saw I already put out a ticket here. It's already out there in the atmosphere. I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles on the money line, which was minus 130 a little bit earlier. I'm just sifting through here on the FanDuel Sportsbook. It looks like Eagles now is a minus 146. I think the Eagles get the job done in this game. I think they're the better football team now. If you had given me a healthy offensive line and Alvin Kamara, this would have been a tough one for the Eagles, because the New Orleans Saints got a good defense. Don't get it twisted. They do. But the Philadelphia Eagles have sort of found that identity that they've been searching for over the first couple of weeks and couldn't find it. That's running the football, getting Jalen Hurts on the edges. Jalen Hurts running for 30, 40, 50 yards a game, handing it off. Howard's been great. We don't know if Miles Sanders is going to be coming back in this game, but we'll see. We'll see. If he does, that's just an extra running back that you can use. I think the Philadelphia Eagles, with the injury situation to the New Orleans Saints, are the better football team here. The Eagles are healthy on the offensive line, healthy at running back, healthy at wide receiver, healthy on defense. I think that's going to be a boon. They are 0-4 at home, but I don't think that makes any difference. You see the teams they lost to at home this year? Anybody would have lost to those teams at home this year. I mean, you're talking about some of the best teams of football. Let me just bring it up right now. I'll give you the scores here. So we'll go over those Eagle home games. All right. Got it pulled up here. At home versus San Francisco. Healthy San Francisco team. 17-11, they lost that game. Again, Eagles still finding a new identity with a rookie head coach. They played the Kansas City Chiefs at home, lost 42-30. Chiefs were rolling at that point here. At home, the world champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you lost by 6 points. Then you played the Chargers to a dead draw, 27-24. Now you're going to get a lower level football team. Because if you're asking about all those teams right now, the Saints aren't as good as any of those teams injured. They're just not. If you're going to be down your 2 tackles and your best player on your team and start Trevor Siemian, you're not as good as the Chargers with Justin Herbert. You're just not. You're not as good as the San Francisco 49ers. You're not as good as Kansas City. You're not as good as Tampa Bay. So that schedule starts to weaken up here, and it starts this weekend. And I've been one of the biggest, proponents of betting against the Eagles all year long. But this is not the time. They're the better football team over the New Orleans Saints here. All right, let's keep going down the list. See if we can find some things that make sense. Houston and Tennessee. 10-point line across the board. Last time I checked, we had some weather issues in this game, and it looks like possible light rain, 56, 57 degrees, and light wind. So that's not going to be all that bad. I think Houston stinks. But at the same time, does Tennessee have the ability to blow anybody out anymore? I don't know. Without Derrick Henry on that offense here, down Julio Jones, A.J. Brown seems to be banged up week in and week out. Adrian Peterson is your starting quarterback. Am I going to be betting this game? Probably not. But the one thing I do know is that I think Tennessee is going to be able to hang around in this game. Houston's going to be able to hang around with Tennessee in this game. I do. Over under 44.5, probably an under look for me as well. I just don't think Tennessee is an over team at this point here. And if we do get some rainy conditions, I think it can stay under the total. Green Bay and Minnesota love this game here. Opened up as a 2.5 point favorite here for the Green Bay Packers. That's now down to 1, and I agree with it here. I think Minnesota beats the Green Bay Packers this weekend. Look at the games Minnesota's played all year long. If they didn't win the game, they hung right up against it with you. Kirk Cousins is playing some of the best football of his career. Dalvin Cook is electric in the backfield. You have 2 really good wide receivers on the outside. Harrison Smith, off his 2-week COVID hiatus, is back this weekend. The Green Bay Packers come in. They're a good football team. They've been playing great defense. Don't take anything away from them. Aaron Rodgers banged up with injuries to his feet. No Adam Pac-Man. Actually, not Pac-Man. I always like to say Pac-Man. No Adam Jones in this game. So that's going to be like, okay, Devontae Adams and Green Bay can roll along with Aaron Rodgers. I get it. That could happen. But I'm looking for a rise-up situation here by the Vikings. The number speaks everything in this game. Ticket count 70% here on the Green Bay Packers. As I said, open up at 2.5, now sits at 1. I don't think you need the points. I think you're getting an outright victory here with the Minnesota Vikings. Cincinnati and Las Vegas, the toughest game on the card for me. Sometimes I think I should just take a total in this game. Opened up at 49, now sits at 50.5. Vegas Raiders opened up as a 1-point favorite, now shifted to the Cincinnati Bengals. I think I agree with that. I think Cincinnati's the better football team in this game. Cincinnati's got a better offense. Their defense is, it's okay. It's not bad. Maybe playing a little bit better than what you anticipated coming into the regular season. We do know the Vegas Raiders can rush the passer. But if I'm just taking a look right now at this game, I probably like the Cincinnati Bengals here. I do. Coming off the bye week, rested, ready. Joe Mixon, we saw him banged up a little bit this year, having some knee issues. I think he'll be ready to go. Touchdown prop definitely in play for Joe Mixon. I think he scores this weekend. Arizona and Seattle, 471, 472. Kyler Murray, a game-time decision. Whenever you hear that, it's not a good thing. That means he's not 100%. DeAndre Hopkins, not going to play in this football game. Chris Carson for the Seattle Seahawks, he's down for the year now with that neck injury. The one thing that makes it a little bit scary for me, though, is if you're looking to take Seattle, is how poorly Russell Wilson played last week and looked overall. Didn't look like himself, which was one of the best players in the NFL. One of my favorite quarterbacks over over my lifetime, over 44 years. Russell Wilson, worth his weight in gold. He is absolutely sensational. He looked horrendous last week. He was Jared Goff last week, bad. Yeah. So we expecting him to bounce back in this game? Probably so. He's a professional, one of the best to ever do it. But do I want to lay money on that and then midway through the first quarter, like, God damn, why did I bet this again? I just saw Russell Wilson was shot last week, and it's clear that he's not ready yet. But if Russell Wilson plays well in this game, they have a legitimate chance to win this. Because if Kyler Murray is banged up, you take a lot of the effectiveness away from their offense. You can't just throw it up in the air now to DeAndre Hopkins after you buy some time. Seattle's defense is starting to play better. They played well last week against Green Bay. The offense just didn't show up. If I'm leaning in a direction in this game, it's going to be towards Seattle. But this is one I'm not excited to get to the window to bet because I don't want to be left and outsmart myself. Like, Donnie, you saw Russell Wilson. He was atrocious last week. He still doesn't have the cobwebs worked out yet. He's got to get those back yet before we can fire away on those. No question about it. Dallas and Kansas City love this game. And boy, I really like Dallas. I still like Dallas, just not as much as I did this morning. Why? Because you got the news that Amari Cooper is going to be sitting out this game. And also keep in mind, folks, Thanksgiving as well, since they have the quick Thursday turnaround. Do I still think they can win? Possibility, yes. Do I think Zeke Elliott's going to be a big key to that? Yes. Do I think Pollard's going to help in? Absolutely. Lean on that big, nasty offensive line that they have. And you still have CeeDee Lamb out there and Michael Gallup, who came back. But boy, I was looking forward to all three of those wideouts playing in this game. Dallas team total really liked it a lot at 26. Was it 26 and a half? 26 and a half, yes. I still think they can get there. Maybe we might get a discount now also, because if that line moves in the direction here, and let's just say they get to a 3-point favorite, the Kansas City Chiefs, then we might be able to look at it a little bit lower as well. But I'm still looking towards a way to possibly take the Dallas Cowboys and their team total in this game. I still think it makes sense, but boy, I would have liked to have Amari Cooper still out there. It's a shame he's not going to be there. Sunday Night Football, Pittsburgh and the Chargers. Mason Rudolph possibly starting here. Keep in mind, reading some of the beat writers' reports out of Pittsburgh, they haven't ruled Big Ben out for Sunday yet. That means he must have passed a COVID test today, right? Because you need back-to-back COVID tests to play in that game that are clear. So obviously, if you didn't get one on Friday, you're not going to Saturday and Sunday. So you're already done the deal here. So there's a possibility that Ben Roethlisberger plays. I don't know how much difference it makes here. Pittsburgh is really banged up on defense. I still give the edge to the Chargers here, but the Pittsburgh Steelers are usually a pretty good team when they are a dog. I just don't know what the hell. I'm not excited about that team. Like, if Big Ben plays, so what sometimes? Is Chase Claypool going to get to the starting gate? Because that certainly would help out as well. And then Monday Night Football here, which again is my favorite play so far of the week. Team total 16.5 over for the Giants. They're going to play this game. They're going to play well against Tampa Bay. They're finally healthy on offense. They'll move this football, and all we need is 17 points. We don't need 24, 24.5, 27. That's all we need in this game, and I think it makes a lot of sense here. All right, so to put a recap here of what we're looking at team total-wise this weekend, and we just scroll down some of the games that made some sense. It's a shame, too, because now, all of a sudden, I'm starting to look towards the Baltimore Ravens as a possible team total. Again, I haven't fired on. The only one I fired on is the New York Giants. The Ravens have a possibility here. And early in the week, I was trying to find a way to take the Saints team total. That's completely out the window, so we're not betting that here. Don't really necessarily love the Philadelphia Eagles team total, even though I do think they do get there. But I don't think the New Orleans Saints are going to be able to press the Eagles here. So the Eagles will do what they do, run the clock, and we'll see what happens that one. But sort of staying away from that. Minnesota and Green Bay, not in love with that game either. The Cincinnati Bengals as a possibility now of a team total going to the over. Got to do a little bit more homework on that one. No place here on Arizona and Seattle. The Dallas Cowboys and the Kansas City Chiefs. Boy, again, it was almost a surefire. We're going to take the Dallas Cowboys at 26.5. Now you're down to Amari Cooper. We're going to reevaluate, see where that line ends up, both the total in that game and also the side, to see if we can get a discount. No real love for Pittsburgh or the Chargers this weekend, the Steelers-Chargers game. But again, the New York Giants, I think, is going to be a really good one. Now, keep in mind, guys, if you're just watching this, haven't watched the show for the first time, hit the subscribe button, retweet, whatever, like it, leave a comment here in the section. I usually like to come in and check in because they give you the notifications when somebody checks in and gives you a post-show comment to go in and try to feel it out. But I like always talking here on Friday with my thoughts, because sometimes we have plays, which we do, New York Giants team total, but also tomorrow is a big day on these props. If you ever follow me on Twitter, follow me at RightSideDP. We'll be getting after it again on Sunday, make some shrewd decisions, see if we can hit some long shot tickets and have some fun with those. But again, keep in mind, on Sunday, same channel right here, we don't have a BMR show. So I'm going to do a live show here on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you're watching it out now, and we'll be locked and loaded. That you'll get exactly what we have. But also keep in mind, as I said, we'll go over them on the show. But when I release a play to you guys, you know it on Twitter. Here's what I'm playing. Here's what I got it at it. Here's what we're going after. So if you haven't followed me yet on Twitter, do so at RightSideVP. You get every single thing I play. Nonsense plays, which means some prop plays or some long shots, legitimate plays where we're taking a look at team totals and like best bets. And then the same play that you saw me take today already, the Philadelphia Eagles money line -130 to beat the New Orleans Saints. If I have it, it'll be up on Twitter. But I appreciate you guys coming in here and checking it out. As you guys know, I do have a radio show that have to get on tonight. That airs from 7 to 10, Sirius XM channel 159, In Play Sports tonight. Both myself and Kevin Walsh bringing that heat for us there. But thanks again for coming in. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you on Sunday at noon right here. Take care.